on your mobile device, you will not be disappointed. Go to where it says information, where it says my name, Robert Cole, created by, click on my name, and that's where that Spreaker podcast will allow you to follow me and follow the show, and we'll let you know whenever we're going live, and if there's any kind of really interesting topics you may be interested in, or if you just happen to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning and you can't sleep and you have nothing better to do, we're going to be here for you. If you're not listening live, you're probably, you can always listen to the show. We do post the show on Twitter. I'm Zombie at Twitter. Again, just click on the link right here at Spreaker Podcast, and you can also follow the show on Twitter. You can listen to the show anytime if you're trying to get your workout or your mixed martial arts training in, or if you're just out hunting and you want to listen to the show. You can always listen to it on YouTube. You can click on the link on Facebook. I'm Robert Cole on Facebook. And yeah, definitely last but not least, you want to have the Spreaker Podcast app on your mobile device. Okay, guys. I look at this next topic and it gets to me a little bit. Really gets to me a little bit, okay? Because I don't know what other people's opinion of this might be, but let's just talk a minute or two about how do you all feel about men putting their hands on women? And I'm talking about out of anger. So I can just tell you a little bit about background about this and a little bit about my opinion about this and how I feel about this, okay? Because the subject came up and I don't know. I think it's kind of like this. I have 4 sisters. Being raised with 4 sisters, I have also two older brothers. 3 boys, 4 girls. We were raised that you do not put your hands on a female, period. It doesn't matter if she bites you, hits you with the baseball bat. It doesn't matter, because guess what? Pop's gonna beat your ass if you put your hands on one of your sisters. And guess what? That also applies to your cousins. That also applies to any other woman on the planet. So being that's just what I was taught, then I expect other, not even gentlemen, and not even other men, but other persons of the male gender to respect the fact that men and women, were not designed to combat one another. They were designed to, enhance one another's experience on Earth. They were meant to be there for one another. They weren't meant to fight with one another. I don't think any human being are meant to fight with one another. But the point that I'm saying is the physical, the physical traits of a male and the physical traits of a female, it's just 2 totally different characters. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? There are definitely exceptions to that rule. There are definitely females that put hands on men, and for that, I feel the same way. I don't feel like anyone should be abusive in any way in a relationship. And if you have to be like that, man, life is too short. There's the door. And that sounds easy, but at what road do you have to cross to get to the point to where you say, it's better for me to be abused or to be abusive and stay in this relationship? And a lot of times, I'm telling you, probably 9 times out of 10, there's some sort of chemical dependency involved there. A, or B, there's some sort of psychotic disorder, some sort of a mental disorder. It's one of the 2 things. And the only thing that we can do is educate and or try to teach people that that's not the way to go. Oh, and if that means slapping some dude upside the head out of reflex that might actually raise his hand at a woman in front of me, then so be it. I mean, that's just old school. That's just how that shit works, guys. So yeah, putting hands on a woman is never, ever, ever an option. So, I mean, I definitely would like to see somebody try to mug Ronda Rousey or be waiting in her car for her. And if you don't know who Ronda Rousey is, she was the Ultimate Fighting Women's Champion there for a while, for a long time. And she happens to be a badass. That, my friend, would be a good YouTube video. To see someone try to, like, stalk her, wait in her car, and gonna abduct her. Because, I mean, to anyone else, her or even better, Paige Van Sant. I'd love to see someone try to, like at Paige Van Sant's at the mall with her friends, and somebody tries to grab her and take her into the hallway. That would be an amazing YouTube video. Paige Van Sant would do the swarm on them, dude. She would fuck those cats up. And that's what any man needs that's ever put his hands on a female or has thought about putting his hands on a female. And I can only say that I'm blessed that I have never, ever, ever one time in my life put hands on a female in anger. Now, I have thrown my keys and they planted into the sheetrock in the wall in the same room that we were fighting in. I punched a headboard one time and it broke all the way in half and went through the wall. But, I mean, that's as close as I've came. That's 2 instances out of, let's say, over 20 years of relationship. I can say that's a pretty good track record. Being that I have been physically attacked before by a female, and the hysterical laughing on my part did not help the situation, okay? And if any of you guys have any kind of martial arts training, you understand that defensive techniques definitely come in handy when you got a wild female coming at you all willy-nilly, doing the windmill fisting at you whenever she's mad and intoxicated. I'm not talking about any choke outs or anything, guys. I'm just talking about, how to block punches, how to block whirlwind windmill punches. So yeah, definitely. All I can say is if you've thought about it, if you've done it, and you never want to do it again, you have that evil feeling inside that you have hit a female in anger, that I pray for you. And I hope that you get help and you get some kind of counseling. You get that imbalance figured out. I don't want to say grow some balls, become a real man, and realize what it is to be a gentleman and how to treat women the way that they should be treated, okay? Because I don't want to be rude. I would never say that. But I would definitely issue an open challenge to anyone that thinks that it's okay to put hands on a woman, all right? This is an open challenge to anyone that thinks it's okay to put hands on a woman. You, come meet me. I'm not a big guy. I'm not a badass. I don't consider myself to be a fighter. I'm definitely a lover. But I am a man. You're a man. If you put hands on a female, you meet me. I'll give you a designated location. We'll put it on film. And we'll step into the cage, and I have absolutely no training inside the cage either. Hey, maybe you do. Maybe you cage fight your women. That's cool. We'll get into the cage. We'll throw down, and we'll see. Because A, all right, I'm not a drunk female, okay? And B, I don't know, maybe I need a good ass whooping, and you're the one to give it to me. So I don't know. There's an open challenge to anyone that thinks it's okay to put their hands on a female. I'll get with a friend that owns a gym. I got 2 different buddies, and I'm sure either one of them would be more than happy to let us both sign a waiver and step in there. One in the ring or one in the cage. Or we can do both. Best out of 3. What do you think? But no, seriously. Seriously, I pray for anyone that have those kind of issues. And, man, if you're a female that's facing that kind of situation, Because I've been, like I said, I do have 4 sisters. We're all adults now, and they've all been in situations to where they've had to call in backup, quote unquote backup. Sometimes when they really needed it, and sometimes not so much. But I can tell you that with family, we'll always be there. With any of my tight clique, I will always be there. I got your back, Jack. And so, yeah, being that I've had to just be the bigger man, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you always have to beat someone's ass because they've done the wrong thing to your sister or to another female. Sometimes being very calm and talking to someone and inviting them out back is just the realization that they need that maybe they shouldn't do that anymore. And I could tell you guys an old school story, but that's not really good radio conversation, about what happened to a gentleman back in the, in the late 70s. Ooh. I don't even want to tell that story, guys. We're not going to get into all that. We're going to try to keep it upbeat. We're going to try to keep you guys smiling and lift you up and let you know that I'm not getting into any of this BS because, I want to bring you down. I talk about these things because I want to lift you up. I want everyone to feel their place in society. And I think everyone should wake up every day doing what they love to do, just like yours truly right here. Because Lord knows, that's why they call me the rich little poor kid. You know what I mean? I've got it all in my own mind. You know what I mean? And that's really what matters. The perception of you to the world is one thing, and your perception of the world to you is a completely not other thing. The way that you perceive yourself is masterful thinking. And not worrying about the way other people perceive you, in a sense, is good. I guess the point in all that is not having to look over your shoulder and worry about people throwing stones at you or being hateful towards you, because the God's honest truth is you really get back what you put in life. And if you surround yourself with the creative people that you aspire, that you would like to become, then you can't really go wrong. If you can't lift people up into the creative plane from the competitive plane where people are just competing and butting heads with one another, and lift them up into the creative plane where they know that there's always a creative solution to any kind of situation that you're in, then sometimes you just got to cut them the fuck loose. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is insanity. So the people that do that, well, if they're not learning any better, then, what can you do? And a little bit of that leads back to your own free will. They can only do whatever is in their heart, that they think is the right decision to do. And that, it has really a lot to do with having an original thought for yourself. Because laziness is following along with everyone else, what everyone else says, and agreeing with what everyone else says. That's what lazy people do. Creative people do, and what people that don't mind the laborious effort of actually formulating an opinion for yourself, of actually thinking about the subject and seeing the pros and the cons and the cost versus values, and then weighing your own opinion, well, that requires labor. And lazy people, they're not going to mess with that. They're just going to go right along with the flow. So sometimes it's better just not to associate yourself with those kind of people. You got to live on the creative plane. We got to live on the plane of constant advancement. That's where we want to move forward, and we want to live, and we want to grow, and we want things better for our children and better for our children's children. And that's definitely not too much to ask. And again, in communication, you know what I mean? Laziness in communication.